I voted for the eminent domain bill. I've learned a lot from it, and I told you that previously. But we have to realize, you know who has eminent domain in this city? The criminals. And our communities aren't saved. And if we put much attention in trying to solve these neighborhood issues, and we still want to go back down this memory lane of eminent domain, I get that. The legislator changed it. It's not going to change again. We have no authority to do what we did in the past. We have to be better, more prudent, and sit down with individuals and see what's going on. But there are more important issues in the city than eminent domain. It is key, and I understand what happened to you. You were a champion of the cause. As soon as that bill was passed, who came down to congratulate you? I did. Two men shook hands. That's just time to move on. But there are a lot more issues we need to be facing in the city than eminent domain.
Well, I championed the bill in the legislature and got it passed, so I'll pass on to Scott. It should have never happened in the first place.
And Ed knows I was right there to fight eminent domain for private gain, and I have to say that it was the greatest failure of the Baker-Montgomery administration, because untold hundreds of thousands of dollars were paid to allow developers to come in and make these kind of land grabs, that they were stopped with Mr. Williams' help. And also they took their eye off the ball as our homicide rate reached record highs in loss of lives. Greatest failure of that administration.
Me being a property owner, Ev, I support you.
Recent county executives debate, we heard all of them say that, well, they oppose a amalgamation of city and county law enforcement. Okay, no great shock. However, just about all the candidates did talk about consolidating emergency communications, city and county. And one of the prominent candidates mentioned where there would be more cooperation. City cops might cross lines into the county into the city. Please comment.
They do that already, Alan. There's a lot of cooperation with the county police, city police, and state police, frankly. That's hardly anything new. I think there are areas for the city and the county to cooperate. One of the things I did in my last job was make sure that we did a major study of the whole wastewater, water, clean water system with an eye toward trying to change that relationship with the county. We run a treatment plant, and we process the sewage of almost, well, 85% or so of the county. About 85% of the flow that goes through our wastewater treatment plant comes from the county. We need to find ways to maybe change that business relationship. There are things we could work on with the county. There are back office things like computer technology and things like that. That's where we should probably put our energies. You know, thank you.
There's law in the books in Title 11 where police can cross jurisdictions responding to complaints, but you have to look at the liability factor also in the future if you're going to do that. You want to get Wilmington police sworn in as county police officers, but you want to make sure that you get a legal opinion what the liability is going to be, because once you cross the jurisdictional line, if there's any confrontation that takes place and the police officers use deadly force or anything, you have to make sure what the city's liability is going to be and make sure that they're covered. The county just needs to pay us our money back from the wastewater treatment plant, the money that they owe that they're not paying back, the money that they're complaining about that they don't owe. That's one of the things they need to do, and maybe we need to charge them a little bit more for suburban rate water. Okay.
We'd have a regional approach to guns, homicide, and so forth. Every day there's crime going on in the city and county that we're only a few miles apart from each other. So we need to really sit down and have those task forces together rather than being reactionary. Let's get down to business. But on the bigger picture, we need to be able to annex. The city of Wilmington is the only municipality that has to go to Dover for annexation. Northeast Boulevard, other areas, the riverfront, we cannot annex without going to Dover. So we need to work with the county to be able to do that. So I mentioned the Rotary Club. We need to look at how do union employees in the city and union employees in the county both become through the same health care provider. Are there ways to save money?
I think the state, the city, and the county works well together. I kind of appreciate the fact that we have the different agencies working and coming through Wilmington. I like to see that encouraged more, especially in Wilmington. It has shown a different effect in all communities with the different agencies here, and then how county and state and city could work together. If we can build something to make our city a lot stronger, a lot safer by working with these different agencies, I think we should continue that.
Thank you. Well, in terms of my goals in the Spence administration for more jobs, less crime, better neighborhood, interagency work is instrumental to make that happen. Economic development, to bring more jobs, the city, county, and the state should work together as a team. But specifically in January, on my website, spencerforthepeople.com, I wrote a letter urging the governor of the county, hand-delivered to Mayor Baker, and Mr. Montgomery got this, on creating an interagency homicide task force to save lives right now and nothing's been done. But it's the single greatest opportunity to bring in the county homicide units, the state homicide units, to save lives, because these criminals are not, the killers are not respecting the city limits or the county or the state. They're going across state lines as well. So we need that cooperation in a more sophisticated way.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you just tune in, you're watching a real live Mayoral debate on Channel 28. It's been 2 hours. If you want to call in, you can call in. We're taking a few questions from the audience. We're going to take a question right here from the phone line. How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Bye from the show. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Good evening. I would like to have some comments from our mayor candidates about education. Preschool education is mainly what I would like to know. There's been several opportunities for our current administration to have literacy programs here in our city, not costing the city anything, just their participation. And I know the current administration, they support programs for young people to stop violence and things of that nature. But I believe education needs to be addressed, and I would like to hear some comments from the current panel.
Thank you very much. Robert, why don't you try that first?
And is she talking about education as far as violence or education
just early childhood education,
early childhood education? Okay. I think that's vital, and the city can't play an intricate role in that, because I think that's somewhere a partnership we should deal with state government and federal government. I mean, I think the city has enough responsibility as it is, but we do need to take heed that the young people in our community, when it comes to early child education, like Mr. Kelly said earlier, it starts there. We have to do that. We have to play a role in that. So under a Bovell administration, that's something that I would like to encourage from city council and state government, us building a relationship on education.
Kevin.
Interestingly enough, on my Facebook page, I asked that question. What is the mayor's role in education? Get some feedback. The mayor has to be much more involved in education as has been in the past. What I would propose is creating a youth advocate position. That position would be equal to the city solicitor and report to the mayor. He or she would be involved in early childhood education, all forms of education, coming up with a true plan for our young people in the city of Wilmington. To take a comment from my good buddy Eric Robinson, education is the currency we need for the future. Our kids are broke. They don't have the currency. They're not learning. They're dropping out at 50%. They're riding to Glasgow. They're riding down to Newark, and they're not learning. And when they don't learn, we have the problems in the neighborhood that we have. So we need to really focus on education. The mayor needs to be an advocate for education.
Bill.
For those keeping track, you just added probably another $150,000 to the deficit to add yet another position. We don't need another position. We need a mayor who is on top of the education issue and is pressing the state. State in our system, the state and the school districts provide education, not the city. I am all in favor of what the young lady's asking for here, to get more early childhood education here. We need to be training the folks who work in the daycare centers. We need to really, if you grab kids early, they've got a shot. If they start in a deficit mode, they're going to be in trouble through their whole career. Prevention in the area of early education is related directly 15 years down the road to crime in this city. So we need to do all that, but the mayor's got to be the person who insists on getting the resources from the state of Delaware.
Thank you, Bill. Dennis?
Well, I'll be the mayor that meets with the superintendents, and as Bill said, I guess I'm going to add something too, because I would like to get an ombudsman who would do social services and watch the educational process constantly, 24/7, someone who is dealing with the social service aspect and the education aspect around the clock. The mayor can't be in Dover every day. The mayor can't be in the educational structure every day. The mayor's going to need somebody that's going to be focused, that's going to be dedicated to the educational system of our children from the city of Wilmington, and spend their time dealing with the budgetary problems, dropout rate, and sitting down with the governor and trying to figure out how we're going to turn this thing around and look at early childhood education, which we funded in the General Assembly. The mayor's just not going to be able to be a person that's going to be able to constantly do that. He can support the ombudsman, but the ombudsman is going to be there constantly dealing with those social service issues and our educational issues.
Thank you.
Well, I can tell you, when I was pushing the campaign for Sunday bus service, I had a rude awakening at the pattern of neglect that allows certain chronic problems to occur. And I think our education system is no different. You know, why is it that we have a city divided amongst all these school districts? How do you have consistency of accountability at the preschool level, let alone graduation level, if you have accountability divided? And I have a number of questions I'm going to find out on the Spence administration. Number one, why is it we think nothing of spending $1 million in economic development to back them and not a dime to back our future in education development? We're going to find ways to change that, just as I have in terms of public-private partnerships. And specifically, a question tonight that I want to find out answers to in the coming days, the race to the top money. I've heard concerns as I'm campaigning around the city that there's not a strong commitment of race to the top money within the school because the districts are within the city because the districts are dividing up our city. So we have accountability. We have to fight for our children's future. Ultimately, producing those results is important to reduce crime.
We have a question from the audience.
Good evening. My name is Sean Allen. For the last 21 years, I've worked with Youth and Family Service and Family Court, working with youth placed on level 2 probation, first-time youth offenders. I wasn't going to say nothing. I guess my question is that July was the bloodiest month that Wilmington probably has ever seen. And most information that I get is from young people. And if you're not aware now, young people have got a thing I would call headshots, which means that they're walking up on people and shooting them in the back of the head. So when we know that, and the shooting that happened today on 24th and Market, when the guy jumped out of the car and shot like he was a Western, what are we supposed to do? I mean, I know Mr. Williams said that lock him up. If that's not the solution, then what is the solution? Because until you see blood on the street, not just going to a scene after it's over, but being there when it's happening, after it's happening, and a kid last month just getting 16 from AI, the sister that graduated from AI, I got to go back to AI this year and talk to them kids. Right. I mean, what do we supposed to do? Do we supposed to arrest them, or do we supposed to, you think walking the beat's going to?
Thank you.
I'm confused.
Let's start down this end at this time, Scott.
Well, Mr. Allen, you're right. It's a race against time. And, you know, I've listened and learned from you, too. We've got to make stronger connections with our youth. There is such a lack of love and lack of self-respect in our community amongst ourselves that these crimes are festering in. And I'm out there campaigning. I wonder, you know, did Dr. King die for this? Is this what it's come to and all the struggles and efforts that have happened? You know, to reach our youth, we're going to have to be producing jobs. And I have the Youth Employment Set-Aside Jobs Program to create jobs 16 to 21. For all the companies that won city contracts, I'm going to ask them, how many part-time jobs you're going to set aside for our youth, and how many full-time jobs you're going to set aside for our youth. Just remember, another company might bid a few more jobs. That's going to help build resumes, respect, responsibility, and give those young people a sense of hope instead of falling into failure of crime.
Dennis.
Well, we will do true community policing, and we will go after violent offenders like I've always said, but there's another part of that. We have to use social services and the police to go into people's homes to find out exactly what is going on. And when I say going with the police and social services, I know we're going to have some union issues when we try this. This is a part of the Safe Streets Initiative also. We have to go into these houses and find out what's going on in there. Is the mother or father using narcotics or alcohol? Is there any mental illness in there? Because if we don't go in and work with those families and we don't know what's coming out of there, we're not going to stop that. I mean, it's going to be the cat chasing its tail. We do know that. That's why that component, we're going to really need to get into these homes to really work things out. But everybody keeps talking about jobs on this panel. You are not going to get any investment in jobs in this city until we stop this violence.
Bill.
Sean, I commend you for the work you're doing with the YES program. I think more people, if they were doing that kind of work around this community, could make a difference, number one. Two, I continue to advocate for a real push to get the Safe Communities model that's working in other cities around this country really up and running in this city. It sends first and foremost a moral message from the cops, the mayor, the community, the ministers, everybody. We're tired of this. This killing, the shooting has to stop. We're not going to take it anymore. So it's one thing to say that. The second thing it does is it brings the folks together who are engaged in this, and you know who some of these groups are, and some of us know who some of these groups are. You bring them in, you sit them down, you give them one last chance. Turn your life around, or else. No uncertain terms. There will be a police response, and it will come against you if you don't turn your life around. But we do need to give folks an opportunity to turn their life around, and we need the community to be working with the police. The third aspect of this program is that it will bring police and community together to have the tough discussions they need to have about race and issues like that to divide us.
Thanks,
and
Bill.
Get the community
Kevin,
working together with the
Kevin
police.
Answer. Kevin?
Sean, was he getting ready to say something?
No, we got to keep moving.
Kids need three things: something to do, somewhere to go, and somebody to look up. We've been faltering our children on that. We need to be able to come back to true education, look at the school systems, true community policing, where the police are in neighborhoods and know who the young people are and understand those relationships. We need to bring back youth outreach workers, people who engage young people from all corners of the city to find out what's going on. And more importantly, we've got to bring our nonprofits, our churches out to say, you know what, you need to be out every day of the week looking after young people and how are we going to help them be able to better themselves. We've done that on council through Safe Havens. We've done that in other areas where we're trying to help young people out. But that's what we got to do. We got to take our message to them.
Wow.
Sean, that's a great question that you asked, but I know you're dealing with limited funds and you're one individual, and I appreciate the job that you do. But one thing that we have to consider, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to our youth, is that the youth don't have no one to turn to. And then we sat here and just asked, what job can we have for the Hope Commission? Well, there you go. Take that, what you just said, to the Hope Commission. Come away from the conference tables, behind the desk, and start going to the community, start talking to the families. A lot of these kids just want somebody to reach out to them, to understand them. I see it firsthand. I understand the struggles, but the only way we're going to change it is to have more Sean Allens.
Hey, you know, gentlemen, the phone lines are going crazy, so we're going to take some more phone calls.
Sure.
Hey, Bill, let me ask you a question. You seem like you're getting a little irritated. Like these guys keep saying the Baker Montgomery administration is playing a role in crime not doing his job. I mean, you want to respond to some of this stuff, right? I mean,
well, I think I have already.
You can't sit there and just like take it on the chin.
No,
right?
there are a lot of things that have been done. I've been instrumental in getting programs like the Fed Up program to get the worst gun criminals away in federal prisons. I've been looking at what technology can do to the city. I've helped get the camera system expanded. I've been looking at safe communities.
Right.
Safe communities has another element to it, and that is caseworkers, that's youth workers. I went again to Dover. Kevin Kelly criticized me to go to Dover.
Kevin, you've been the most critical of him.
He wants the youth workers, but he wants us to pay for it, us city taxpayers. No,
why is Kevin,
let
me ask Kevin, why have you been so critical? Why have you been?
Well, listen, he's got to understand that during the time that he's here, and I'll take my buddy Mr. Williams, we've had about 1,000 people shot and over 200 people killed under the Baker administration. They went to Rhode Island. That plan didn't work, didn't like it. See nada. Now we got new plans because we're running for office. The reality of it is these plans are not working. These ideas of the safe community. We need to have community policing where officers come in neighborhood and understand what's going on. We had a homicide the other night. We had a shooting today. We're at 19. My literature, third highest in the country in 2010. Not in the East Coast, in the country is how violent the city was.
I understand that, but then it's like, how could you stop that? I mean, like, who's going to get out there and take a bullet? I mean,
nobody's going to take a bullet, but what they've been doing wasn't working.
Because you've been critical too.
Well, you need more aggressive police work. I mean, first of all, I'd have fired the chief. That's the first thing I would have done.
Woo.
That's exactly what I would have done. I would have stepped to the plate. You know, no chief is going to tell the mayor's office how they're going to run the police department. The mayor's going to tell them, going to give them directives, and they're going to do what they're told.
You saying Chief Zerba's telling the mayor, Baker, what to do? I'm asking you. You made a comment.
Come on.
Okay. Is that what you're saying?
Listen.
I'm listening.
If you have a team,
right,
and they're losing games and they constantly lose games,
right,
and your folks come to you and say, all right, listen, we're 10 and 30. Don't you think it's time for a change? This mayor and this administrative assistant has sat there constantly and watched this mess continue.
Well, they took their eye off the ball and
stand by. I have met with several of the parents whose kids have been murdered. I don't need television cameras and all that nonsense. Go talk to them. Go talk to the community. We have knocked on doors on Bennett Street, Spruce Street. These people feel no one cares about them. We have some police cars riding by places with their windows up, not even moving people off the corner. I am a state legislator, and let me repeat myself. I am a state legislator. When constituents have to call me to make the police come or call the mayor's office to get results on something, it's ridiculous. Right now, I'm going to be dealing with a problem tomorrow on 26th Street where a woman's called about a tree on top of her house for about 4 months. No response. I'm going to be out there tomorrow. She's called her state representative. That's ridiculous. And you tell me we have an administration functioning?
No,